Welcome to the Stronger Than Your Boyfriend podcast, a podcast for anyone into fitness.
Especially for those of you who need to check themselves before they wreck themselves.
We are Heather and Katie, owners of Bar Path Fitness, here to help you sift through the bullshit and toxic misinformation that permeates the fitness industry.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about checking yourself.
Before you wreck yourself.
Yes, sustainable fitness.
Yes.
And why not every workout needs to wreck you.
Yes. People still think they need to sweat and walk out of their session like they almost got killed for it to be an effective session. Although my clients don't think that. Do your clients think that? I think I've educated them enough to know that, ooh, that was hard, but it was good. Yeah. I don't feel like I want to go take a nap, or I need to just like lay on the couch for a bit, and that was so good.
I feel like a lot of my clients start out thinking that way. Well, not a lot, but some. Specifically the male clients, or
really
the women who are like type A.
Okay, I figured it would be the women because, you know, women get sold, be lean and skinny, and the way to do that is to sweat and burn calories, then, you know, do 20 reps of lateral raises every workout or whatever.
I guess, the men I work with are older.
Okay,
and I think there's like this old school mentality. That's like, what is the no pain, no gain? You know, like that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I have to be like, no, there's actually rest between. It's not a circuit.
Yeah, it's
we're not doing a superset.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. This is why we're your best friends, because we talk in between sets. Yes. Calm down.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it happens to men and women.
Yeah, right. Yes, it's everyone.
It's everyone.
All the folks. All right, so let's start with the real question.
Okay.
What actually makes a good workout?
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of people still equate a good workout with how sore they are, how much they sweat, how tired they were, how many calories their little watch says they burned, right?
Yeah, which is not accurate at all.
We talked about it a lot with our last episode a couple weeks ago and the wearable episode we did a long time ago. But a good workout should support your energy, support your recovery, and support you, not drain you. It should challenge you, but also be something you can recover from. So if it's wrecking you every once in a while, cool. But if it's constantly leaving you on your ass or sore, it's not doing what you think it is.
Yeah, and just a note on the soreness, which we have a whole episode on, why you should not be that sore every workout.
Right.
And if you are sore, you probably pushed it a little too hard. That's not to say a little soreness means you pushed it. Like, that's okay.
Especially when you're changing things.
Yeah.
Every time you change a stimulus, you will be a little sore. So
but
that's okay.
Let's say we're in the middle of a mesocycle or a phase, as I, call it to my clients. Let's say it's week 3 and all of a sudden you are fucking sore from a workout. We did way too much.
Yeah.
Because if we're in the middle of it, then at week 3 or 4, you should feel okay, like I'm not sore, I feel good, I'm ready to progress.
Right.
Not like you killed your legs or whatever we're working. So just a note on that.
Yep. A great workout or a great program should be improving your strength, endurance, mobility, whatever your goal is, in a way that fits your lifestyle. It's not about exhaustion. It's not about punishment. It's not about no pain, no gain. It's about building strength, building, mobility, resilience, whatever, physically and mentally. So if you're stuck in a cycle thinking that you need to feel destroyed or that your workout has to be hard enough, we want to kind of reframe today what success looks like. Yeah.
So, okay, what do we mean by sustainable fitness? This is essentially what's going to keep you consistently working out / moving your body. So you should have activities you enjoy in there.
Yeah.
In your weekly routine, monthly routine, whatever. So, okay, we know, obviously, because we talked about it and we just know the truth that everyone needs some kind of strength training.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you have to do, 4 days a week like you and I, or however many days you're training.
Right.
Because we enjoy it. That's our preferred mode of fitness, which is good because you get the strength gains, which everyone desperately needs.
Right.
But that's not to say everyone loves to strength train.
Right.
So, okay, if you have 1 to 2 days of strength training and you're getting in enough volume to push your body and adapt and become stronger, and let's say you're swimming, right? And you love to swim and you love to bike. This time of year in Colorado, everyone is doing all the things outside. They're hiking, they're biking, they're swimming, they're kayaking. So, okay, this might be the time of year. You can even have seasons in your programming and your routine. Maybe summers, you're doing all the outside activities. Okay, you dial back your strength training to 1 time per week, and then All the other days, you're doing all the shit that you love. And you're moving your body, you're doing a healthy thing, but you're still incorporating the strength piece, which there's no way around it. You have to do it. But that's not to say you can't make your strength training plan something you enjoy as well.
Right.
So do you really love calisthenics? Great. We can program for that. Do you love training with the barbells and feeling really strong during your however many sessions per week? Great. We can get you working towards those, even though barbells aren't the end all be all. Some people feel really powerful and strong doing that. So these are just a couple examples, but whatever keeps you consistent, not what gets you excited, because we did talk about, as far as the strength training piece goes, you can get excited about swimming and hiking. It's still hard, but if it excites you, good. Keep it in, do it. The strength training piece is where it gets a little in the weeds, because I don't get excited a lot. I mean, I don't really ever get excited about strength training, but I just do it. So there's a balance to that between doing what you need to do versus what you want to do.
Or you'll get excited about the movements you're good at.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right? That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
That's why having a program and or a coach is so important, because if you're left to your own devices, you're going to do what you want to do.
Right.
You're going to do your bicep curls.
Yeah, and your lateral raises.
Abs.
Yeah.
You're going to do the vanity muscles that you look good in the mirror in the gym, but you're going to neglect the shit that sucks.
Yeah. So this is funny. So my mom, she's like on this health routine right now, and she's doing great. She's lost, I don't want to keep it about weight, but she had some weight to lose. She's been losing it. She's been walking. She's been strength training. But if I'm not training, if I'm not telling her what to do, she will just avoid her lower body. She's like, well, it's hard. And I was like,
Like people are like, I don't want to squat.
So I was like, let's go leg day today. So that is something to keep in mind.
It's me with hip thrusts.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah,
I bought a hip thrust thing just so
that you'll do them. Yeah, and that's good.
Them.
Yeah, but I think, having a coach is important, because I have one who programs for me, and he makes me do shit that I wouldn't do, and it's good shit. I mean, stuff I wouldn't even know of or think about. So that's another piece to that. But also, if you are working with a trainer or a coach, I think nowadays especially, yes, you can have aesthetic goals, but if your trainer is only focusing on that, get a new one. Because if they're not focusing on getting you stronger, fixing your limitations, your weaknesses, etc., or getting you better for whatever activities or sports you enjoy, I think you should run far, far away if they're keeping it all about aesthetics. Because if they're focusing on your energy, your vitality, your health, and feeling good, okay, good. Then now we're getting somewhere with your trainer. But if they're keeping your workouts to focus only on aesthetics, they're going to probably have you crash diet. They're probably going to have you do some dumbass circuit training that's not going to get you any results, just so that you burn calories, lose weight. And we obviously know that's not effective.
Right.
So that's just a piece with the trainer, right? So, and I think that will keep you coming back to your trainer.
Well, that's that intrinsic motivation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You should have a smart coach knows that getting you to a point where you can be intrinsically motivated is what's going to keep you around.
Yeah.
They understand that the long-term things may be aesthetics, sure, but you're not going to see that at first. So, I mean, that's just smart coaching.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And what I think about when I'm training clients is they might move, they might move away, their circumstances might change where they can't, afford personal training, or they're not around anymore. If they're going to show up, for themselves, or they'll find another trainer, they'll actively seek someone out, whatever, to where that they're just going to work out no matter what, then I feel like mission accomplished.
Right.
Because that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
You should be doing this until hopefully you die.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, you want that health span, not necessarily a lifespan. You want to be able to move and do things. So
I will say the caveat to this, your thing about aesthetics, is if you're hiring a bodybuilding coach. If you're
trying to be a bodybuilder,
I just know people are going to be like, oh,
well, I got my competition coming up. Like, okay, good for you. You're already doing shit just fine. So it's like, okay, calm down.
Yes, we're not talking about.
We're not talking to you.
We're talking to general fitness people.
Yeah, talking to people who, I just think of my clients who I love. Like, they got busy ass lives. They got a work schedule. They got kids, and they're trying to manage it. And they're also trying to look and feel good. And then get in here, they work out, they feel great, and they go back to their life, and they keep showing up. And that's like the best case scenario. That's life.
Yeah, we're not talking to you, Chad.
Yeah, Chad, who has your show in 12 weeks, and you're on your cut, and you're just hangry right now, and bitchy.
You found us on Instagram
and you want to just
troll.
Yeah, troll because we're two women talking about shit. All right.
All right.
What?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Chad. So signs your current workout might
Yes.
be doing harm.
Yes.
So if your current routine is leaving you completely exhausted, if you're struggling to sleep, that's a huge indicator. If you're dragging through every session, something's off. Right?
Yeah.
Like maybe every once in a while, sure, that stuff can happen. You push too hard, and that's okay. It's actually okay to push too hard every once in a while. But if that's consistent, it's not working, let's not do it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a mental aspect to this. If you're dreading your workouts.
Right.
If you every time, like at first, it's kind of hard to get in a routine. I get it. You might dread it when you start working out, and that's okay. You have to get to discipline.
Yeah.
But then if you're like kind of in that rhythm and you start dreading it, something needs to change.
That could be a sign of overtraining too.
Right. Yes.
So
Yes.
if you are that consistent, you're not going to miss no matter what, but you're dreading it. Maybe we're going a little too hard right now.
Yeah. So constant fatigue. Hating working out every day, not sleeping well, not recovering, obsessing about food and working out. Like, this is such an interesting one because I feel like when we all start our fitness journey, when we start out, we get obsessed.
Yeah.
And I get it. There is a point where that actually needs to happen for you to change. I think.
Okay, I'm going to push back on the obsessiveness too, because I think that it is still not the norm in society, so you're weird. If you're thinking about what you're putting in your body, granted, there are people who obsess about it, and yes, like objectively, they're orthorexic, they're like measuring every morsel of food, they won't do anything fun because everything revolves around food, whatever. Yeah. Yes, that's getting into a little too into the weeds with that. But I still do think that, like, I think people think I'm obsessive, but I mean, I just had In-N-Out burger last night. Yeah. So it's like, I don't, okay, it was great, it's delicious, and I'm not like tracking in, like, I gotta fit it into my macros or whatever. But, I consistently work out most days because it makes me feel good for the day. I'm not doing it to like look a certain way. But I do think that we, us fitness people, get labeled as obsessive because people aren't doing that. And their norm is sitting around, not really caring about food, or maybe they kind of do, they just don't know what to do.
Right.
And I think that when people first start out, to your point, they're motivated. Yes. So, to label it as an obsession sucks, because if someone is motivated and they're being discouraged by hearing, from their family or whoever that they're obsessed, then it's like, oh shit, am I? Or am I just really trying to change shit? Yeah. You know what I mean? So it does, but there are people who take it too far. For sure.
But I think it requires, if you're trying to completely rewrite your life. Right. Like if you're sedentary, if you're not eating healthy, like this is going to take a huge mental and emotional shift.
And you
gotta be a little bit
obsessed. Yeah.
I remember when I first started, honestly, like I feel like a lot of people, like aesthetics is the gateway drug, right? Like a lot of people start with like
aesthetics is the weed.
Right? Like a lot of people start by, okay, I want to look better. Yeah. And I remember when I first started, I wanted to do a figure competition. Yeah. And I did too. Yeah. And I had, Aaron Stern, and this is going to date me, but like all of these like figure like pros on my phone background. Yeah. And I was like, this is, I'm going to do this.
On your phone.
And and it is easy to run into that unhealthy realm, especially when you're looking at aesthetics and other people.
Yeah, when you're competing.
But I will say that it kept me motivated. Yeah, exactly. And then it shifted into more intrinsic motivation. So
yeah, and even if we do label it as obsessive, and even if it is, I think that's because our society is not cut out for someone to prioritize their fitness. Yeah. We've got shitty ass foods on all the shelves, like, the produce. Okay, maybe you find some good produce, maybe you don't. It's just, meat is expensive, and working out, okay, you gotta go hire a trainer, you don't know what to do. Yeah. So I do think that society still it's not very conducive to be a healthy person. So I think, maybe you do have to be obsessive about it, because you do have to park your car far away to get your steps in, you have to drive everywhere. So how do you
prep your meals?
Yeah, you have to prep your meals because, well, everyone else is getting DoorDash, Five Guys for lunch.
It's not super accessible to people. Yeah. And so, you have to be a little bit
obsessive or motivated.
I know, we need a better word. But
but I think maybe making the obsessiveness okay, but managing it. You know, it's all a scale, it's all a spectrum, right? So yes, you could be obsessed and look and feel good and still have, you know, healthy social life and enjoy the foods that you love. Okay, if that's your idea of obsession, great. Then that's probably a quote good one. But if you're like, you know, you're measuring your cherry tomato that you ate, that's okay.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Keep in mind, you are the only judge of what's too much or what's not enough.
Exactly.
Do not let someone else make you feel like because you're bringing your own olive oil to dinner that's weird. That's not weird.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good for you.
Like, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, or asking the waiter to cook your food in butter. People like poo-poo that.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, like if that's what you need to do it. And don't let other people tell you it's too much.
Yeah.
If you start feeling like it's impacting your mental health, your life, you need to be your own judge.
Exactly.
Not someone else.
Well, that's just, you know, we've talked about this in whatever episode, just when someone is starting their fitness journey, I feel like we need a better word for that too, a better phrase. They're, you know, embarking on this health lifestyle. Yeah, embark.
No, it's my least favorite word.
ChatGPT really loves embark. I did that for you. So
thank you.
I think that they get, you know, if they have family members or they're surrounding themselves with people who aren't necessarily into health or they're prioritizing their health, they can have these comments be thrown around which aren't necessarily meant to be malicious by the people surrounding them, but they're just, oh, you're not gonna have this cake. And then
the worst one is you're not gonna have a drink.
Oh, the drink. That's so stupid. Shut the fuck up about the drinking. Go do something else. Anyway, so yeah, the drink. Yeah. And you have the power to be like, I don't want to, versus I can't. Because we've talked about this probably many times, but just saying I don't want it versus I can't have it changes your mindset completely.
And your agency.
Yeah. And now it's like, well, you're choosing to not do this because you have this goal for yourself. And now if you say I don't want it, you're basically telling these people you don't give a fuck what they think. Like, I don't want it, leave me alone. Yeah. So I don't want to drink, I don't want this cake. And maybe you do want it sometimes, but you're saying I want it versus, well, I can have it now or I can't have it now. Right. So yeah, agency. Yeah, it's a great point. So Chad, fucking
Chad and your
whiskey shots, shot and your judginess.
All right.
Side note, if there are Chads that listen to this and you like us, sorry.
Yeah, we love you.
We love you, Chad.
We love you, Chad. Let's make a shirt. We love you, Chad.
Yeah, we love you. Or do we? We love or we hate you. Okay.
How to build a sustainable workout.
How do you? Okay. So essentially, figure out what form of movement you like best. But caveat, you need to have some strength training in your plan. Okay. So, and when I say figure out what form of movement you like best, maybe that's within the strength training. Yeah. Like, are you really keen on kettlebells right now? I mean, fine, but you can use them. I use them, but okay, that's great. You're still strength training. It's cool. Maybe the barbell scares you. We've talked about this in our squats and deadlifts necessary. Yes. We did talk about this. I think that if you have a trainer or coach helping you, I think you'll get over that fear, but maybe you just don't want to do it right now, or you don't want to do any machine, whatever. Figure out, okay, what keeps you consistently showing up. If your trainer is having you do like Bosu ball squats and then burpees, 1, that program sucks. 2, you're probably going to hate it eventually. So I really do think though, that if you have a good trainer, that they will just learn to trust you and know that you're doing a lot of the same movements. You are incorporating barbells when they see fit for you because they are the expert. You're doing dumbbell work, you're adding in some kettlebell, you're doing all of the good shit, the good movements. I don't think you're gonna be afraid of anything. Yeah. As you progress.
That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. So while we did talk about it, okay, maybe for specific people with injuries or whatever, maybe it is a mental block, but I still even then think that you can get past that when it comes to strength training. Totally. But when it comes to just creating a routine weekly for you, okay, if you love strength training, and that's your form of movement, well, now on the other hand, you have to manage your recovery and intensity, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe you want to work out 5 times a week. That just means you're training less intensely every day, but intensely enough. So you'll be able to find that fine line because that's what your program looks like right now, right? Yeah. So but also you know, like we were talking about, maybe you're doing other activities. So, and you can plan it. Like this day I'm doing this, so I'm recovered for strength training. I don't think that's very obsessive. And I think that's actually a good way to plan it out and program it out.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing swimming Monday and I'm doing my full body workout on Thursday. That way I have enough time to recover. Whatever. Whatever keeps you consistent and doing things you enjoy, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So if you are following, I don't know if we just recently talked about this, but you can follow the best program in the world, which doesn't exist, but even, let's just say it did.
Yeah,
you're following the perfect program for you, let's say. If you're not doing it, it's not the perfect program.
Right.
If you're doing a subpar program, you know, whatever that looks like, which, I mean, that's kind of tricky too. I feel like that's very subjective. But if you're doing, you know, program with just like a bunch of machines, it's better than doing nothing if you're following it consistently. But ideally, we want to get to that point where you're moving freely in space, right? Like using barbells, dumbbells.
Correct.
But doing something consistently. So what does that look like for you? We can't answer the question for you. You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think a couple episodes ago, or maybe we've said it multiple times, that a subpar program done consistently is better than the best program in the world done irregularly.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that was pretty recent. So yeah. And obviously, as far as, you know, sustainable fitness, which we're including diet and everything with that, make your diet protein centric, and I think you'll be just fine. Because all of the processed shit, they're not protein rich foods. You'll probably just naturally cut those foods out. You're probably eating more meat, fish, eggs, and then with that, I don't know who eats like a piece of steak with potato chips. That seems like a weird meal, but I feel like
delicious.
But I feel like you probably eat just like baked potato instead, which is probably better. But I think, but I do think when you're consistently working out, that falls into place. You wanting to eat better to fuel yourself and eat enough to fuel your body.
Totally.
So it all goes hand in hand. So
totally.
Yeah. But, and you know, make sure, okay, there's also, I think, two camps with this: people who don't do enough or people who do too much. So I think figure out who you are and either add or subtract. So if you go to the gym 6 days a week, maybe we want to dial it back a little bit. Maybe instead of going strength training 6 days a week, maybe you're going 3 days a week, and then, okay, let's explore other ideas for you. Do you like hiking? Maybe you don't even know. Do you like biking? I sure don't, but maybe I would. Maybe if I actually did it and I tried it and I got through the hard part, maybe I would like it. So maybe you could use this opportunity to explore what other activities you like to keep your routine more sustainable for you. So you're not just doing all of the things, right? But, you know, that could also look like if you're just, I'm not going to do any other activities. I'm just going to the gym and strength training and that's it. Okay, if you're doing 6 days a week, you go to 4 days, maybe some light mobility days so that you're recovering. So, you know, that's just one example.
No, if 6 days a week, we're talking about if you're not recovering. If 6 days a week works for you, which it does for a lot of people, keep going. We're talking if you're like feeling like shit.
Exactly. Yeah. And that comes down to listening to your body, right? And that's the most important thing to sustainable fitness.
But on the flip side, if you are feeling like shit and you're only working out a couple days a week and it's not that intense, maybe you actually need to go harder.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You gotta, it's all about context and context with your life.
Totally.
So yeah, I feel like, I mean, experience with overtraining, I feel like we both have had that. And that's obviously not sustainable, right?
I think
because you
anyone
feel like shit.
who's really been into fitness for a while has had that moment, that time when they just went too hard.
I think that's just the sign that you work in the fitness industry. You have to go through that shit.
You do. There has to be some trauma there.
There has to be some trauma with your own, inflicted by your own self. With your own workout routine.
Totally.
I think, I mean, obviously, when you and I are both powerlifting, I think that was probably like peak overtraining because you're just like, well, I gotta get stronger, and that's the goal, and you're just doing too much.
Well, my problem was I was working, well, we both were working in fitness, but I was specifically teaching group fitness classes.
Oh, yeah.
Up to 15 a week.
That was
and trying to be a competitive powerlifter. That is when I most certainly tore a ligament in my SI joint. And over time, it just got worse.
I'm also just impressed that you were able to hit the numbers doing all of the group fitness. You know
what I mean?
But there goes to say, when you're younger, you can get away with that shit.
Totally.
But I feel like 40s and beyond, if you're teaching group fitness, power, it gets a little tricky.
Well, my best meet was after moving to Colorado and not teaching, right?
Yes.
Like, I had to take...
Then you lost all that weight too, just like not doing.
Yeah, I did a lot less activity and I lost, 10, 15 pounds?
Goes to show when your
body's... I
body's...
was doing too much.
Yeah. When your body's stressed, it thinks it's in famine mode and it will hold on to the calories you give it. So, yeah. But I think, that was probably and it sucked because that was your work. And it's hard because it's really hard. How do you tell someone to not make this money because your body is overtrained? Yeah. You weren't going to do that.
Yeah, fitness people are probably listening to this and like,
amen.
Fuck you, bitch.
Like,
no, they get it. They're like, it's so hard. It is your livelihood to move. Right. But then how do you take care of yourself? Yeah. When you have to do all this movement for other people.
I think that this reigns true with group fitness instructors.
Yes. Yeah.
Not necessarily personal
specifically
trainers.
what I'm thinking about. Trainers, yes, you're on your feet all day.
Yeah,
there's a lot there.
You're mostly walking around, checking form. Like maybe you're not doing the movement. Like you're showing them the form. You're not lifting your max weight as you
I also think this is why coaching is getting more popular. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that coaching classes are getting more popular, like strength classes where the coach just walks around and yells at people. No, there's a program and all that, right? But like versus when I started, it was step aerobics. And I don't know if any of you motherfuckers have taken step aerobics, but...
You're literally doing the class with them.
You are doing math. You are keeping the beat. Nobody understands that step aerobics is all math. I'm such a nerd about it. It will always be my favorite format. It's all about 32 count intervals. And as long as you make 32, it's cool. You can have a 10 and a 16. And it's just awesome. Anyway, you're doing math. You're listening to music. You're talking, you're moving, you're coordinating. Like, it is the most exhausting thing to teach.
You love that shit, though.
It is so fun. Why don't we do step aerobics anymore?
You would do it. I feel like if it was like once a month, you would be
I need anybody in Colorado who wants to do step aerobics to shoot me a message or DM me and tell me if you will come to my class, and I will teach you.
I think you get some 40 to 60-year-old ladies.
So fun.
In there.
So fun. I think the younger folks should try it because it is a freaking blast.
I think I did it at like Midwest Fit Fest.
You did it when I was presenting.
Fucking Eliza was baller at it, and I was like, why am I in an advanced step class? I could not follow.
Yeah, I think she had like odd count moves. Like it was. Cool.
She was like doing the double step, and I was like, oh god, okay.
Yeah. But anyways,
you can get better at it
when you are teaching classes like that, or even cycling. I'd say, like, if you're a cycling instructor, be careful. I actually know 2 cycling instructors who have gotten rhabdo multiple times.
Oh shit.
Yeah, from teaching so much cycling because it's very specific. Yeah. And I don't think they were like outdoor cyclists either. You know, they were just indoors on the bike, repetitive movement over and over, teaching a ton and going just too hard.
Well,
Scale back the resistance a little and keep that in mind if you're teaching.
Message to the CrossFit peeps too. A lot of CrossFit worker-outers get rhabdo because they're doing all these new movements.
Do you remember when DLB, Dana Lynn Bailey, got rhabdo in her abs from doing crunches on the
GHD sit-ups? I remember that. And it's like she's
like hardcore.
She is hard fucking core.
Yeah.
She doesn't miss a day.
And she was like Miss Olympia. Like, she's a badass.
Yeah, and she still got rhabdo. Yep. From a CrossFit, from an intense CrossFit.
It's crazy.
It is fucking crazy. Yeah, so, and you gotta know that she has probably overtrained many times in her life in her bodybuilding career, and it's just like pushed it too hard. Yeah. But just one fucking workout.
It blows my mind.
That scares me.
Yeah.
I don't do CrossFit.
It's trauma
not that
to
scary.
one place over and over.
Yeah, when you're doing the Metcons, you're just So so if you are a CrossFitter and that's your form of sustainable fitness, ask yourself, is it that it's sustainable? Because I feel like I would be the person to test it, and I just know I would crash and burn if I did CrossFit like 5 days a week. As many days as I strength train and I substituted it for CrossFit, I would crash and burn.
Let's talk about your experience with overtraining, because I feel like you kind of, when I met you, you were doing...
Too much? All the time. Well, it was like bodybuilding.
You were doing bodybuilding. You were doing a lot of HIIT.
Yeah.
You weren't eating very much.
Not eating enough.
Like,
I think that's the triad.
Yeah.
The doing too much cardio, the strength training too much, and not eating enough. Yeah, I think that.
That was the triad.
I didn't test, but I'm sure my hormones were fucked up. So I don't do that anymore. That was like young 20s.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I think that, early 20s, I probably got lucky doing it then and got away with it. But some women continue to do this into their 40s. And too much cardio, not enough food, and you just fuck your hormones up, and your body
your body is going to go into perimenopause, and so in menopause, it needs like some regulation there, and if you don't have it, oh shit.
Yeah. So I mean, I have fitness ADD. Like I've changed so many things, like powerlifting, Olympic lifting, now this like calisthenics, gymnastics journey, but it's the same type of style of training, but I've been doing it for over 5 years now. Yeah. But there's different movements in there, so it's fun.
Yeah. So I have to just talk about a little bit about because this girl, I met
ADD.
you bodybuilding. Then we got into powerlifting. I feel like you barely powerlifted, and you were deadlifting in competition 315.
I did that one time though.
Whatever. I have a video of it, so I think about it all the time because I'm like, oh my god.
Well,
and, like you competed twice.
But I think that was when I was in a really, well, not really low, but like what is the 60 kilo weight class? It was like lighter.
Yeah.
For 315.
Yeah, and I think you like learned sumo one day and you just like pulled it in comp and like hit 315, and I was like,
do we want to know why though? It's because I have really long monkey arms.
You do. That's true. Bench
I'm not good bench.
Your strong
bench
suit.
sucked.
Yeah. But anyway,
Squats,
I think it's just funny. So you're like, okay, pull 315. I'm good. Let's move on to something else on board. Then you went into Olympic weightlifting. We got USAW certified together.
Yeah, that was fun.
In like 2016 or 2017.
I don't even know.
And then you started doing Olympic lifting, and then you hurt your foot.
Hurt my foot. Couldn't compete.
And then you switched to calisthenics.
Then I wanted to stop getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like because I know I pull my back pretty bad in powerlifting. And this kind of just goes along with what we're saying, what's sustainable, and pushing your body to the extremes isn't necessarily sustainable. I'm not competing for anything right now, but this style of training I really like. It's like very mobility focused. I'm doing a lot of movements and skill movements that keep my joints healthy and strong, and my muscles obviously, but it's a very sustainable way of fitness for me.
I think it's great.
Yeah. But I think I really fucked myself up for a minute, and I just got really I dug myself out of that hole in time. Yeah. Because I think if I were still doing that, oh boy.
Yeah.
I would be looking and feeling a lot different at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think that it's all about workout and we talked about this before. If you're really only training for aesthetics, the body that you want is going to take you so long. 10 years. 10 years. So you have to put in this work. So you have to figure out a way to stay consistent and keep it sustainable. Yeah. Or else you won't get the aesthetics that you want.
Right.
So I feel like you and I can both speak for just being consistent and focusing on energy and health, that now we probably look the best that we ever had.
Totally.
Just putting in the years.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. I get hotter every year.
Yeah. that should be the goal. And that's a really cool thing about moving your body, staying healthy, and strength training is that the more years you put into it, just like investing.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
The more years you put into investing in with money, investing in your health, the better you're going to look and feel.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously we're all going to die one day. We're not talking about like living forever, but we're talking about in the context of your life and health span. Yes, the more years you put in, the more you get to know your body, and the more you figure out what's sustainable for you. So
yeah, totally.
Cool.
All right, so remember that small shifts create long-term results.
Yep.
And if you're listening to this and realizing your routine is not as sustainable as it could be,
reach out.
Yeah.
For real.
Reach out.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about this month, because this is coming out in June, is Pride Month, of course. And every year on Pride Month, we put our Stronger program for 50% off.
Yes.
So we'll put the code in the show notes. If you buy this program, you have access for life.
Yeah.
So why not buy it now?
Why not?
But it is 4 days a week of
strength training.
And mobility.
And mobility mixed between. And if 4 days a week sounds like a lot, you can dial it back to 3.
Yeah.
So there's 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days.
Yep.
But it's designed for someone who's not a beginner, but it's also designed for the more, intermediate/advanced lifter to not destroy themselves.
Yes.
So that's where the mobility work comes in. So if you do purchase it, and you have questions, you should join our Facebook group, and we'll be happy to answer them for you, or email us, whatever. But
totally.
Yes.
Okay.
This is how we celebrate.
Yes.
Give you money off.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So sustainable fitness. It may not be sexy, but it works.
And we got a program to keep you sustainable.
Yes.
So check out Stronger.
All right.
All right. Peace out.